We talked all offseason about this Bengals team, about their deficiencies, and it's time to give a long, hard look at their biggest weakness and what needs to change. Yes, let's put Zac Taylor under a microscope right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Check out all of our post-game coverage. I get it. It was painful, but we went to Minneapolis. We're bringing you a lot of post-game coverage, and we really hope that you're checking out the website as well, BengalsTalk.com. Let's dive into what I think is my biggest concern after 3 weeks. Outside of Joe Burrow's health, of course. But when it comes to on the field, when it comes to this Cincinnati Bengals team, my biggest concern isn't Al Golden. It isn't the defense. It isn't the safeties. It isn't the pass rush. It isn't, oh my goodness, what are they going to do without their first round pick? Or I can't believe that. No. You know what? The biggest concern is this offense in the run game and Zac Taylor's involvement in said run game. The Bengals aren't just the worst rushing team in the NFL. They are the worst rushing team maybe in NFL history. And no, I didn't research that, but my goodness, are they bad? And I mean so bad that I can't believe how bad they are, whether it's Chase Brown, who, and sometimes you have to say things out loud because I do think it's interesting what people are going through here. You see Chase Brown and a lot of people are saying, well, Chase Brown is a finesse back, and he can't be tough enough to run between the tackles. And even if that's a little true, where he isn't this bell cow every down player, this is the guy that ran for 990 yards last year and would have had 1,000 yards while he was in a timeshare for part of the year, rushing the ball. This is the same team that has made all of these changes. And so I'm not here to blame Chase Brown. I think Zac Taylor is the one that's under the microscope. The pressure is on. I'm going to say it again. The pressure is on. Zac Taylor needs to fix the run game and needs to fix it now. And I don't mean find a way to make it the best run game in the NFL. My expectations aren't there. I'm not delusional enough to buy into the, oh my goodness, Joe Burrow left, but they're going to be more balanced with Jake Browning, and so their offense is going to be better because a lot of people were doing that overthink crap last week. Joe Burrow is amazing. Jake Browning is a solid backup quarterback. And so when you go from one to the other, guess what? You're going to need to lean on the run game a bit more. You're going to need everything around Jake to be a little bit better, to pick up the slack. Obviously, that wasn't the case against the Minnesota Vikings. But when it comes to this rushing attack, which is by far the worst in the NFL, they ran for 53 yards on Sunday. Jamar Chase had 9 of those. So you take away the jet sweep to a receiver. Well, now you're at 44 yards. You take away the 3 yards that Jake Browning ran. Now you're at 41 yards. And it's 3 yards for Chase Brown, 17 yards for Taj Brooks, 21 yards for Samaje Perine. 12 of those came on one run where, guess what? The Vikings weren't worried about stopping the run, and Samaje had a heck of an effort and got a first down. But it's not like they were loading the box. And that's what's so concerning about this Bengals rushing attack right now. They can't run it at all unless they're gifted 12 yards by the defense. That was their best run of the year, the Samaje Perine run on 3rd and 12 on Sunday. That is unacceptable. They can't create holes for Chase Brown to save their lives. And I think it's a bunch of factors. Zac Taylor, the scheme, the offensive line, all of it. It's an issue. And I'm going to go through the process and the mindset here because I think it's really interesting when you look at what the Bengals have done to try to get better on the ground and all of the scapegoats / excuses that have been made over the years. We will get to those, and I will continue this conversation coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by Win-Win Athletics. Jeff Baldwin and his team have founded the best flag football gear on the planet. And so you have to. Do you think the Bengals could run the ball in flag football? I'm not sure they could, but you can with Win-Win Athletics. The Win-Win Flag Kit is a football field that you can carry. It's got everything you need to play a game of 5-on-5 flag football anywhere. Designed for simplicity, built to perform. Now that's a win-win. Check them out at winwinathletics.com. You also got to check out Christian Husky of Sipsy Klein Realtors. Christian is a huge Houday fan, and he was texting me during Sunday. It was painful for him, and you know what doesn't have to be painful? Moving. Whether you're downsizing, whether you're looking for more space, whether you're just wanting to dip your toe in the market and get an idea of what it's going to be like, Christian can help everything stay smooth throughout that process. Check out everything that he can offer you at sipsyklein.com/chusky. That's sipsyklein.com/chusky. All right, let's get to this timeline, because I think when you look at this Bengals offense and you just go back to last year where they clearly felt like they needed to run the ball better. And what did they do? Well, this offseason, they got rid of Frank Pollock, who I'm sure somewhere drinking a Cosmo or a Bud Light or Miller Light or something and laughing. Probably not a Cosmo, even though that's a funny sight on the beach, Frank Pollock doing that. Point is, he was the run game coordinator. It's like, we need to be better with the run game. I know behind the scenes that was part of it. Get rid of Frank. You bring in Scott Peters. Makes sense on paper. I think it makes sense on paper. You tinker with the run game to make sure that it's going to suit Chase Brown and it's going to really be a part of this Bengals offense instead of separate. It's always felt like it's its own separate entity in the Joe Burrow era, but you wanted it to be a part of the offense and all together, and it will run, it coincide with each other, and it help each other, and it play off of each other, and all of those things. And it all sounds good. Well, right now it's not doing anything. And last week, a lot of people brought up Joe Burrow and the Joe Burrow offense and how this with Jake Browning is going to be better. Well, guess what? They couldn't run the ball at all. And that's where my frustration is with Zach. It's twofold, and maybe not frustration, but realization might be a better way to describe it. He's the common denominator here. Brian Callahan isn't still here. Can't blame him. Joe Burrow didn't play on Sunday. Can't blame him. You can't blame Frank Pollock. Can't blame him. And yeah, you can say, well, they need more offensive line talent. Fine. I agree. That's fine. You can say that. I've spent 2 years talking about the offensive line and being able to draft an interior lineman. McKinley Jackson yesterday. Guess what I wanted in round 3? An interior lineman there, in that Jermaine Burton pick, in that McKinley Jackson pick. Those were prime picks. Both of those guys were inactive on Sunday. I want an interior offensive lineman. And in that range, because that was the area of the draft where you could find someone. And that's what's so frustrating about this team. Like, Dalton Risner is taking a beating today. He wasn't on a team a month ago. And that's what's tough. He's not even on a team a month ago. And now you want him to go in there, and I get it. He was awful. And Orlando Brown Jr. admitted it. He was awful yesterday. I get it. I'm not, like, the offensive line is concerning. They need to play better. But going into a game where you knew you'd have to run the ball and you can't run it at all, like literally at all, well, that's a problem. Here's another problem and another issue I have with Zach. The game plan was built around muddying it up. This Bengals team isn't built to do that. That doesn't mean that they can't win that way when games are that way. But I would never want to go into a game when I have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and I have Chase Brown and Mike Gesicki and Trey Hendrickson, by the way. All of these high-end splash players, that's what they are. Splash players. They're going to make splash plays for you. Big plays that can move the chains. And instead, it's like, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to ground and pound and try to get to third and short and avoid the blitz. Like, that sounds so good, like football 101 style. That's not what the Bengals are. And that sounds good with a lot of backup quarterbacks, but that's not what they need from Jake Browning. You know what they need Jake Browning to do? To find a way to get the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And when those guys are covered, make the right decision. That's what they need. And I'm not saying throw it 600 times, but you can't go into a game and say, yeah, we are going to run through this team between the tackle. That's just never been the Bengals. It's not. Now, do I think they need to be an efficient rushing attack? I do. Do I think that's achievable? I do. Do I think that Chase Brown is capable of doing that and then some? Absolutely, I do. I still believe in Chase Brown. I will buy that stock. My concern is the overall game plan that Zach had going into it, combined with the fact that they just can't do it. Like, it's more likely that Jake Browning has success throwing it 50 times on the road against Minnesota than the Bengals do of muddying it up and winning a physical run first game plan style against the Minnesota Vikings. Call me crazy, but that's how I feel, especially after yesterday. Their starting running back averaged less than a foot per carry. Don't tell me that's Chase Brown. Don't tell me that's his fault. He averaged less than a foot per carry. You're telling me that that's his fault? I don't buy that. I don't buy it at all. I buy the fact that this scheme is lost. Their identity is lost. And it was built in Joe Burrow. And the reason why Joe Burrow wants to throw it all the time, of course, every quarterback does. But the reason why he's leaned into that is because they've never had a run game where he could say, it's better for us to run it than for me to throw it. He's always felt like best chance is for me to throw it. And that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. It's very much like Kobe Bryant saying, well, why would I pass to you if I know you're going to miss or you're not putting the time in? I'm going to take the shot even if there's a hand in my face. Very much that. And I get it. And I get that logic. So now you got to fix the run game. Eyes on Zac. This has to happen. This is a good measuring stick to see if they can evolve. And they've done it in the past. Zac's first year, Joe Mixon, was much better in the second half of the season. They've evolved. Need to evolve now. Better evolve, better figure it out, better get a way to get Chase Brown going and moving in the right direction. And it's got to be Chase Brown. It just does. It does. And I think it will be from a talent perspective. He's their most talented back. I promise you. Doesn't mean Taj Brooks can't get a couple carries here and there. Hopefully Samaje's okay. But let's see what Zac does, how he responds. All eyes on Zac. I believe it's fair to say the pressure is on when it comes to this Bengals rushing attack. It's their worst, by far their biggest weakness. Not the defense, not this, not that. It's up to Zac Taylor to figure it out. We'll see if he can. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you listening. We're going to have Enter the Jungle on Tuesday night. We have plenty of coverage coming your way, thoughts, and so much more here. The season is continuing. The Bengals are 2-1, and there's probably going to be a few more critiques in there, I would say, between now and when we turn the page to what should be a really interesting week on Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. Regardless, we're going to have you covered. Until next time, for Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.